This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.
It's time to get educated on your Second Amendment right. It's time to get locked and loaded with 2 full hours of Gun Sports Radio. Your hosts Dave Stahl, Lance Palkey, and Michael Schwartz will teach you anything and everything there is to know about firearms, self-defense, and the laws that affect your American right to own and bear arms. Visit gunsportsradio.com with your questions and comments, or to learn how to become a sponsor and or guest of the show. Now, here's your hosts, Dave, Lance, and Michael.
All right, folks. Welcome to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, look for our shows on your favorite podcast platform. It's simple. At gunsportsradio.com. That's gunsportsradio.com. Please remember to stick around for the second action-packed hour of Gun Sports Radio. It's 2 hours now, folks. It's not one. I think that one's yours right there.
I'm good.
Hey, folks, this segment is brought to you by, this first hour is actually brought to you by Firearms Legal Protection. This hour's, they are our good friends at Firearms Legal Protection. Firearms Legal Protection is the best legal protection for self-defense. Check them out at firearmslegal.com. Hey, you know, we're starting to get more and more CCWs here in San Diego, and you need to take advantage of CCW USA. They, I can't even talk. They teach classes in San Diego. You can also get in Arizona, Florida, or other multi-state CCWs. Just visit them at ccwusa.com. ccwusa.com offers small class sizes and expert instructions to fit your schedule and your wallet. 3 classes every month, 2 weekend classes, and on Friday. So private lessons are also available too. Great dates and times. Just meet your busy schedule. Check them out at ccwusa.com. Hey, well, we got Lance is still in, I don't know, he's in, Taiwan somewhere or someplace, eating egg rolls.
Yep.
But we got Michael Schwartz, Joe Germisi, and oh my goodness, how would you like to live in Virginia right now? Yeah.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's the big rally.
Tuesday. It is tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow's the big rally in Richmond, Virginia, and they're doing all kinds of weird stuff. They have them all caged in. They have like these caged in areas for protesters, and I'm noticing there are tons of rumors going around about violence and
they're all worried
white
about
supremacy, and they're doing everything they can to slander the whole thing.
And the organizers are just saying, look, we're going to be like we always are, law-abiding citizens that are just going to protest.
Well, no, it's aside from the governor's side, though, is playing that up. Sure. Declaring a state of emergency and banning firearms, the whole thing. And it's just, it's like you guys are just saying, they're playing that end of it up. The pro-gun people they're not going to be violent. They're not going to do anything. It's, the danger is you get some of these other crazies like what happened was it Charlotte last year?
Yeah.
And you
Which
get
had
those
nothing
people,
to do with Second Amendment.
Exactly.
No,
and then that gets painted, though. But that's what they'll do. If people like that show up, they'll paint all the Second Amendment people that way.
But don't you agree in today's society, by poking the bear the way they're doing is not going to be good for them? And I don't mean that in a violent fashion. I mean it's going to wake up a lot of people that are Second Amendment rights and gun owners that normally sit in the back and don't really say a lot, just be kind of quiet and let the insanity do its own thing. I think they're going to be totally shocked with that rally tomorrow.
Well, it depends on who in the scenario is the bear and who's doing the poking. There are like 5 different sides that can be considered the bear. And it's honestly, we've gone over this a couple times. I'm really happy that people are getting engaged and they're,
Me too.
figuratively up in arms in Virginia.
Figuratively, yes.
But, I've never really been a big fan of rallies and protests and that sort of thing. The only time it ever really worked was Selma, back in the civil rights era.
Right.
And the reason it worked is because the police officers committed violence against the protesters. And the whole world finally saw that and said, whoa, this is bad.
And now we're in the social media world where everybody can see everything.
But they have to do something to change public policy. So yesterday at the Riverside County Gun Owners meeting, which was a great meeting, 50-something people, 60 people were there.
Wow.
It was a nice big meeting, and followed up with a how to get your CCW seminar. But a lady asked, she said, "Well, what can we do to support Virginia?" And I said, well, the number one thing we need to do to support Virginia is fight right here in our backyard, and change things in our backyard. Number one, 20 years ago when all this stuff was going on in California, I don't think there were a lot of people in Virginia going, hey, what can we do to support California?
No.
So,
no,
but number two,
they look at California, these avocado yogurt eating people out there.
Yeah, fruits and nuts.
Yeah, fruits and nuts. Yeah.
So we gotta. But number two is we have to do the things it takes right here. We can't take our eye off the ball. We got to, in Riverside, as a matter of fact, Marietta, the city of Marietta, they have, they started issuing CCWs. I don't know if you remember, a year and a half ago or so, we had one of their city council members on. We interviewed him, and he said, look, we're just trying to get people CCWs, which is great.
Right.
But it was extremely expensive. They put a lot of fees on it, and they also require a psych analysis, which is totally different than any. It's not required by the state. The state already does a check to make sure that you're not, mentally, dangerous.
You don't have to take a test. They just look at your background and
right. The psych eval is actually it's a personality test. It's not really hey, is this person insane test? So it's kind of misleading. Anyway, so they lowered their fees by $300.
Really?
Which sounds great. Hey, wow, they lowered their fees $300. It's still $200 and something more than just going through the county because they require this psych evaluation.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that high that you could lower it.
By the way, Texas is $50.
Yeah, well, I hear you. It's already.
I don't even want to talk about it.
It's astronomically high, but you can't. I mean, hey, we're going to charge you way too much money. Now we're going to charge you slightly less than way too much money, and you're supposed to be happy with us about it.
Kind of like gas prices, huh?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, too, going back to Michael's point about, what can you do for Virginia and continuing the fight here, if you look at the proposed laws in Virginia that everybody's up in arms about, they're just exactly what we have out here already. And people are outraged back there.
So what we can do to support Virginia is get active, get involved, and stop that stuff before it starts leaving California, which a lot of it already is. It's already going to Virginia. I mean, nobody a year ago said, well, Virginia's going to fall. They're going to turn into an anti-gun state. People laughed at you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and again, it's a very selective strategy because if you read about, what went on back there, the left pumped a lot of money in there. A lot of those races were very close. A number of them were uncontested. So it's really, I think when people wake up, this is not a wave that's sweeping the country. This was a very focused, very deliberate attack on a state, and they turned to state. And I think if all of this follows through the way people are reacting out there now, I bet chances are good they'll turn it back the other way at the next election.
Well, this is why I'm saying they poked the bear.
Yeah.
And the bear are the law-abiding Second Amendment gun owners of Virginia that didn't see this coming. I don't think the whole rest of the United States saw this coming. Of all states, if you were going to pick, would Virginia been high on your list?
No way.
No.
Not Virginia.
No.
And especially, but here's the thing: you're not going to get your gun rights back at a rally. That's not where you're going to get your gun rights back.
No,
you're going to get your gun rights back at a board or council meeting, at a legislative body meeting, that sort of thing. You're going to get your rights back at the polls. Getting the right people.
There
elected.
you go.
Well, another thing too. This is a normal event there. That this isn't just a gun thing. This was isn't this lobbyist day back there that they do every year?
Yeah, I think they do this every year.
It's just this is a big issue this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a thing where
everybody's watching.
Groups do that.
Everybody's watching Virginia right now, which maybe Virginia's not happy about, but they are under the microscope, and everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen there.
Yep. So what can you do? We have our meetings are this week. Tuesday is Central at Glock Store. Wednesday is North County Shooting Center up in San Marcos.
What day?
Wednesday. This coming up Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
Just this Wednesday, once a month. So it's usually the third week. This week it's the fourth week.
What are you going to be doing at the Glock Store? Anything special?
Well, this is going to be our meeting. We're going to, we go over what's going on, how you can help, how you can get involved.
I'll be there. I'm special.
He is very special.
I may come up too.
Do it. You should.
I know. I always forget. I need to write this stuff down, or you need to send me.
I'll tell you, here's the best use of our meetings when people say, well, all right, what do I do? How do I, why do I come to a meeting? the very best use of our meetings is to bring that guy or girl that you go shooting with or somebody that you know, bring them to a meeting. Don't try to give them the sales pitch yourself come in. Just say, hey, you know what? Come to this meeting. Just
get
come
around
to
like-minded people. Just get around
like-minded meeting. They'll tell you what they do and why they do it and why it's important. Thursday is La Bella Pizza's down in Chula Vista. Thursday, also up in Orange County, is their meeting, and we're kicking off a 4-part How to Be a Second Amendment Activist seminar. So that's going to take 4 months, 4 different monthly meetings, and it's we're giving content exactly what you can do. What are the arrows for your quiver, to be a Second Amendment activist? So
I have my choice of the Glock store
on Tuesday
or a really good pizza.
Yeah, or on Thursday. Come to both. Dave, we have a lot of guys that come to 2 or 3 meetings.
Do you really?
Yeah, they love the pizza.
I need to do it. I need to support you. I just need to get off, come off the hill. And what time does it start?
It's a good question. 6 o'clock to 6:30 is meet, greet, and eat.
Okay.
So if you're there, and then 6:30 we start the actual business.
And how long does it normally run till?
Oh, about an hour?
Yeah, about an hour or so, and then there's usually people that stay afterwards and talk for a little bit.
So it'll run till about 7:30, and then we'll probably break, and everybody will get to know each other a little bit better and talk to each other, and that's plus it's the Glock store and North County Shooting Center. Those are great gun shops.
Yeah.
So check out everything.
Check out some equipment and take a look at. Maybe you might even want to walk away with something.
Exactly.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, a whole lot more right here on Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Folks, welcome back. You're listening to Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, folks, what's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms legal protection. Mike, Lance, Joe, and I use them. Firearms legal protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for firearm owners. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection. That's firearmslegalprotection.com, or you can call them at 469-310-9100. Gun owners, be ready with a lawyer in your corner. California assault weapon laws make it almost impossible to own an AR nowadays. What's the solution? Cali Key converts any mil-spec direct impingement AR platform rifle into a straight pull bolt action rifle so it can have all the features without being considered an assault weapon. It's a true drop-in solution. No milling, no aesthetic modifications, and no turning off your gas system. Keep your entire AR collection intact at a price you can afford. Cali Key, K-A-L-I-K-E-Y, CaliKey.com. Hey, folks, home mortgage interest rates are dropping like crazy. And you know what? If you're looking to buy, refi, or even considering a reverse mortgage, you need to call a mortgage guy you can trust. Well, we call Chris Wiley. Chris is at PRMI Mortgage. For nearly 25 years, Chris has been helping local San Diegans with all their mortgage needs. Call Chris at 619-722-1303 or primeres.com/Alpine. Hey, Mike, so who have you got online?
We have a fantastic, interesting guest, somebody that San Diego County Gun Owners has endorsed for their run at public office. They'll be on the ballot coming up March 3rd is the election. Mm-hmm. And she's running for San Diego City Council. Michelle Nguyen, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Say hi.
How you doing?
Hi, Michelle.
Great. We're all doing really great. Thank you so much for coming on the show, even though I know there's an extremely important Packer game going on right now.
Oh, please. Don't worry about that,
Oh,
Michelle.
boo-hoo.
Yeah, tell him, Michelle. He's already crying because this guy's losing, but that's beside it.
That's hurtful. So, Michelle, you are running for San Diego City Council.
That's right. I'm Michelle Nguyen. I'm running for San Diego City Council in District 3. So,
tell us about.
Are you guys familiar with District 3?
No, tell us all about District 3. What neighborhoods does that touch?
Sure. It starts off with Old Town, Mission Hills, Little Italy, downtown, South Park, back up to North Park, Hillcrest, University Heights, and Normal Heights. So kind of like the urban core of San Diego.
So those are some of the best restaurants in all of San Diego are in your district.
Yeah, I would say so.
So now, how long have you been in San Diego?
I've been in San Diego for coming in on like 8 years. I came down here for college. Yeah, I went to University of San Diego right there in Mission Valley.
Nice. What did you major in?
I majored in international business with a minor in supply chain management.
Holy cow. And you're also in the National Guard?
I am. So I'm a transportation officer in the California Army National Guard. So right now I'm actually serving as an executive officer of my company.
Wow. Thank you for your service. That's awesome. How do you like it?
I love it. You know, it's like, I call it the double life I never want to give up. Mm-hmm. You know, I work so on the civilian side, I work in government contracting. And yeah, I call it my double life. I get to put on a uniform once a month, and people call me Lieutenant Nguyen, and it's great.
Very, very good. Now, you're pretty young, and what motivated you to run?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard a little bit about my bio, but yeah, I am 25 years old. And honestly, this is a way to show that young people are not entitled, but, you know, I would say we're enlightened. I grew up in the era of No Child Left Behind. I grew up seeing President Obama being elected to office. You know, 9/11 happened when I was in the second grade.
Oh, wow.
And we are probably like the most diverse and coming on some of the most conservative generations coming up living in America today.
Well, what really...
Yeah, and I just wanted to, put myself out there and say that, like, look, we're inheriting your world, the city, San Diego, and we need to have a place to speak up and represent ourselves.
Do you feel the National Guard helped you make this decision?
Oh, absolutely. I'd say that, you know, I grew up in an Asian American household, mm-hmm. and as like a woman, you know, you rarely see people, you know, be outspoken and be okay with combat and firearms and honestly just kind of like leadership, mm-hmm. you know, having that type of extroverted personality. But yeah, I love the National Guard because it gave me the opportunity to lead people, mm-hmm. and also it humbled me incredibly. Mm-hmm. You know, every day I learned something different. Every day somebody corrects me. So mm-hmm. I love it for that sense.
Yeah, I joined the Army too, and the minute they cut all my hair off, that took care of that.
That was humbling to you, huh?
Dude, that was so humbling. I thought I was a bad to the bone when I went in. As soon as they cut all my hair off, okay, that takes care of that. I'm just right along with the rest of them.
Well,
yeah, luckily they didn't cut off my hair.
I was going to say, did they cut your hair off? Did they? No. So what really impressed me right off the bat was we send out a questionnaire to all the candidates, and you returned your questionnaire, and you were very vocal and very precise and very educated on the Second Amendment and what it meant to you and why you fully support every aspect of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? What does the Second Amendment mean to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I first of all want to commend the name of your organization, first of all. The San Diego County Gun Owners Association. And, you know, like with millennials, like words matter to us. Mm-hmm. You know, just put it out there. But, you know, I appreciate that you guys don't call yourselves like a gun rights organization or gun rights advocate because, you know what, guns don't have rights, people have rights.
That's right.
And that's what I love about the Second Amendment because, you know, the government does not have the power to infringe upon our rights to bear arms. And that's what people kind of forget about mm-hmm. the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You know, it's to keep the government from limiting our freedoms, our liberties. So, yeah, just going back to the Second Amendment, you know, it's there to support our First Amendment rights, you know?
Agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
So where did that opinion come from? You went to school. I think where did you go to school? Was it
USD?
USD,
yeah,
that's
actually,
right.
Yeah, but my opinions really started since I was as young as I can remember. So I am of Vietnamese descent. Mm-hmm. My family actually evaded communism twice within the last 100 years. First from North Vietnam to South Vietnam when, the Viet Cong kind of took over. And then again, 20 years later, from South Vietnam to the United States. So, like, honestly, that type of trauma is inherited between generations. And from there, my parents taught me, like, they didn't sugarcoat any of the horrors of war. You know, they told me that, like, hey, your great-grandfather had his teeth knocked in and starved to death at the hands of the Communist Party.
Jeez.
My mom, on her way to the United States, she bound her chest and cut her hair off. Not to the extent that you experienced in the military, but she cut her hair off so she could, pass off as a man to come here to America. So they were not shy about telling me those stories. And I'm here today to be like, look, revisionist history cannot erase that part of our value system as Americans.
Right.
So, I'm here and we're saying it loud and proud.
Well, I'm sure that had an amazing effect on who you are as a person and your life. When you and I were talking, you and I met, about a week ago, we were chatting, and I asked you, I said, well, what in your experiences what's gonna help you solve some of the problems in city council, like the homeless problem and all other stuff? And you started talking about Glock. Do you remember that comparison or that?
I do.
Tell everybody what you told me when I asked you that question.
Absolutely. So Gaston Glock, whenever somebody says Glock, it's already controversial. Those who love him, those who hate Glock. But, back in the 80s, he had no experience with the firearm industry. He was actually like a synthetics material engineer. He was like making like furniture, like curtain rods. But anyway, he was just an expert with polymers. And he was asked by the Austrian government to make a firearm. So he's like, okay, well, I don't know anything about firearms. I'm really good with polymers. So he like solicited a lot of feedback from like the military, from law enforcement, and he even like talked to sports competition shooters. He was like, look, like, what do you want out of a firearm? So, they told him what they wanted. And then he like made a prototype, and 6 months later, he made one, and it's not that far off from the Gen 1 Glock.
Right.
And whether or not you think it's great or not, today it's one of the most best-selling handguns out there. So,
well, I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first time I've ever spoken to a candidate and said, hey, what can we do to fix the city? Usually they give me some cliche about thinking outside of the box. This is the first time ever a candidate has said that we need to follow the example of Glock and figure out, hey, we need to look at this from all different sides like Glock did and fix some of these problems. Michelle, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show today. You're absolutely wonderful. We're so proud to endorse you. Give everybody your website and then
how to help.
Sure, absolutely. So my website is vote2win.com, and win is spelled Nguyen. So please click on our website, read through my bio, and please donate if you can. Anything helps. It's really hard to run, so all contributions are greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. You're the best.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, John Dillon's on the line. FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Folks, Hey, welcome back. This is Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1 AM 1170.
The Answer.
Hey, have you been to A.O. Sword Firearms in El Cajon? Boy, they have got the widest selection of guns in San Diego County with over 600 unique guns in stock, including hundreds of used guns. Go see their full-service, experienced gunsmith. They can do everything from mild repairs to full custom firearms. A.O. Sword Firearms Store located at 929 East Main Street in the city of El Cajon. Go to their website at aosword.com or call 619-749-4867. Build, buy, or repair. A.O. Sword Firearms is your go-to place for all things firearms. That's A.O. Sword or call, I forgot, aosword.com or call 619-749-4867. Hey, you got yourself in a little sticky wicket with a gun? Well, Gatsky, Dillon, and Balance LLP are the guys you need to go to. cafirearmslaw.com, cafirearmslaw.com. That would be John Dillon. You can also call him at 760-431-9501. How you doing there, Mr. Dillon?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
You know, it just dawned on me. Gunsmoke. Remember?
Yeah.
Hey,
They
Mr.
had a show
Dillon.
in there.
Hey, Mr. Dillon. That just dawned on me. What?
Any relation?
Yeah, any relation? Sorry about that.
No, and unfortunately, no other relation to John Dillinger either.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even throw him out in there. So what's up, brother?
Nothing much, you know. So I do have a little update on 2 Second Amendment cases out of California, which we actually got some good news this past week.
It is good news. This is very good news.
Yeah, so first, in the Jones v. Becerra case, this is our Second Amendment challenge to the state's ban on transferring and selling firearms, all kinds of firearms, to anyone who is 18 to 20. So any legal adult 18 to 20 years old cannot purchase a firearm in California. And so we're in the middle of a briefing process. We filed a motion for a preliminary injunction to essentially stop the law from being enforced until we proceed to trial in the case. You know, as happens many times in these Second Amendment cases, we got some organizations that wanted to jump in the case, even though they're not parties to the case. And I'm talking about the Brady Organization, Every Town for Gun Safety, and the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. They filed to, submit amicus briefs, which is basically friend of the court briefs, to help, in support of the state's opposition to our preliminary injunction. And so it's 3 separate briefs were filed, one from each organization. They were asking the court to, let them kind of step in and also let them file these briefs in the case. And the judge came back and denied the request, for the amicus parties, and denied all 3 of the briefs in their entirety. But was most significant about it is, the judge could have just said no, denied, and didn't need to provide any explanation, truly, because amicus briefs at the district court level in a, preliminary injunction motion, they're rare. It doesn't happen a lot. So not only did the judge deny the request, but in about a 4-page order, he described each organization in its own separate paragraph and discussed how clearly partisan these organizations were, and how they were not attempting to provide objective third-party information for the court, as what is traditionally what the amicus briefs are for. They were essentially an attempt to give the state extra briefing and an extra bite of the apple, as the judge put it. And he called out each organization as being absolutely clearly biased and partisan, and it shows in their briefs. And the fact that they're not there to help the court in any way; they're just there to help the state. the judge decided that it'd be prejudicial to allow those briefs to come in, and that the briefs would not be helpful. The state could have provided all of these arguments or evidence in their own opposition, which they didn't. So big news to deny them. And the order, I believe Firearms Policy Coalition, they posted it so anyone can go on their website and read the order. And it takes them down a notch, I'd say that.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, so
it's so nice to be on this side of these kind of rulings, isn't it? I mean, usually it's just nice to be on this side of the ruling.
Well, I'll say in all honesty, those amicus briefs were not proper. The judge had it right. The judge is being, a proper judicial advocate here. He's being objective, and he's applying the law as it, should be applied, which is very refreshing and nice. It's good. All you can ask for is an objective judge, and that's a great thing. So good news on that front. It's a tiny, small win, but nonetheless, it was nice, and everyone enjoyed that. Yeah.
So let me just walk through it real quick. So you're suing, and San Diego County Gun Owners is a plaintiff. We're very proud of that. But you're suing the state of California, basically saying, hey, these assault weapon bans are unconstitutional.
Well, no, this is the Jones case. So this is the under 21 case.
I'm glad I clarified.
Yeah, no worries. So this is the ban that prohibits lawful young adults 18 to 20 from purchasing firearms. And it's rifles, pistols, shotguns, anything. They cannot purchase it. And we're challenging that because it's a clear violation of their rights. They're adults. They have all the rights of an adult. And so we're challenging that. And that's what this was on. Now,
and
the other bit of news.
And before you go, I just want to point out, this is another example of, hey, decades ago, they said, look, we don't want adults who are under 21 to own handguns. And the reasonable, level-headed gun owners out there went, okay, we're going to compromise here. But what did they do? The other side went way too far and said, well, now they're not going to be able to own a gun at all. And now we got to go, all right, you know what? Let's actually fight this thing and say, hey, look, if you're the age of majority, if you're an adult, then you should have all the rights accompanied with it. So this is yet another example of gun owners being reasonable and the other side being way so extreme that it forces us to say, hey, now we got to stand up and
because we're right and they're wrong.
It's pretty much what it boils down to. Anyway,
what was your next statement?
Yeah, so the other bit of good news we had is in the assault weapon case in which San Diego County Gun Owners is a plaintiff. This is, again, it's a challenge to the, California's Assault Weapon Control Act that, prohibits semi-automatic firearms with certain characteristics as assault weapons. And so we're challenging that as unconstitutional under Second Amendment. And we're in the, pretrial stage. We've filed a preliminary injunction in this case. However, there's some other motions going around, and the state actually moved to stay the case, which means they want to, put the case on pause or, put a hold on the case and wait until their other Second Amendment cases, specifically Rupp v. Becerra and Duncan v. Becerra, are fully decided at the Court of Appeals level. And so the state moved to stay, and we filed our opposition to that motion just last week, and I believe it was last Monday. And 2 days after we filed our opposition, the judge issued an order denying the state's motion to stay the case, and essentially saying, nope, we're not going to put this case on hold. We're moving forward.
Sweet.
And they reschedule our preliminary hearing date. We have it. It's now February 6th, where we're going to have oral argument on that motion.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So the fact that, if the court were to have stayed the case, especially pending these appeals, it could have indefinitely delayed the case years without anything happening, because not only The Rupp case specifically, which is another assault weapon challenge case, believe it may be possible that case is going to be stayed at the Court of Appeals level due to a Massachusetts case, which also has to do with assault weapons. And anyone who's kind of been paying attention in the last year and a half, the New York Supreme Court case where the Supreme Court was making a determination on the city's regulations on transporting and taking your firearms out of the city. So a lot of Second Amendment cases throughout the country were essentially put on hold to see what what kind of decision the Supreme Court was going to come out with. So we had the potential, if this case was stayed, it could have just been stayed to wait on up to 4 or 5 different cases to have finished before we were able to go forward on ours. So it could have been an absolutely indefinitely long pause on our case that could literally last for years. And we believe and we agree with the court that's not a good thing, and that's the whole time the case would be stayed, our clients, the plaintiffs, and anyone else who's in a similar situation, their Second Amendment rights would be violated that entire time. So it's good. They denied that motion, and the case is moving forward. So that was the other big news for the last week.
So you want us to come to court and be your fan club? Can we?
No.
Can we?
Dave, no, you're not allowed. You're too loud.
Oh, man.
We could show up and start a wave and have the
could do waves.
Do the big finger, the number one big finger, and
We're for John. We're for John. We're for John.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dave's going to get kicked out in about 30 seconds if he shows up.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, yeah. So, some good news. And then, real quick, just the last bit, we have a big rally going on in Virginia tomorrow. And I'd just like to throw it out there. Everyone be out there, be responsible, fight for your rights.
That's right.
But know that all eyes of the country are going to be on you.
Yep.
So being on your best behavior is a good thing. Don't let them try to put you in a box of crazy, gun nut, scary, violent people. Be those peaceful protesters that show how this country is really made and the people behind it.
Yeah, be peaceful and deliberate.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Don't be baited.
Nope. No, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. It kind of reminds you of that kid in the Indian.
There you go.
Yeah, that kid won, though.
That kid won. They won't tell you how much, but he has his own private parking place at CNN.
Still smiling.
Still smiling. Thanks, buddy. You take care. Folks, if you ever need him, he's the best. All right, this is Gun Sports Radio, FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
Welcome back. You listen to Gun Sports Radio. This is FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
This segment is brought to you by Firearms Legal Protection. What's the best defense for self-defense in those horrible new red flag laws? Firearms Legal Protection. My clients, Joe and I, use them. Firearms Legal Protection is a legal defense program for lawful gun owners with a 24/7 emergency hotline and plans designed specifically for the firearms owner. Talk to the good folks at Firearms Legal Protection today. That's Firearms Legal Protection at firearmslegal.com or call 469-310-9100, 469-310-9100. Gun owners, be ready with a lawyer in your corner. All right, this segment is brought to you by The Gun Range San Diego, the Nordstroms of gun ranges, just not the price. 7853 Balboa Avenue. 10 to 10, 7 days a week. TheGunRangeSanDiego.com is where you need to go. You can find out anything and everything from classes to shooting experiences to gun deals, rentals, what's in the fleet. And with that being said, we got Jason on the line. He is the representative today, calling in and talking about what's going on. Now, are you still pretty busy? I know the Chargers aren't on TV, so you should be.
Oh, yeah, we're pretty busy, Dave. How is everybody doing?
Well, I'm fine.
Joe's really busy.
I'm fine. Joe's fine, and Michael's crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
20-0.
That's because his Packer. What kind of?
They're down by 20 points.
You should see what they're.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, you don't.
Ouch.
So what's kicking, buddy?
Store very full. Store very busy. Selling lots of guns, tons of ammunition.
Really?
Tons. That's right. Anytime the new year, once it starts to get around election times, election periods, anytime anything election related starts picking up, people start to buy tons of ammo. I had a gentleman buy 10,000 rounds of 9mm last week. People are stocking up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Does he need a new best friend?
Yeah, does he need a new best friend?
He might be. I might be helping him out with his lawn a little bit.
Yeah.
But people are picking stuff up pretty quick.
Did he have to pre-order that, or do you guys have that kind of inventory?
Well, we have that and more. We always have at least 60, 70,000 rounds on hand at any time.
Right.
Of course, this gentleman whittled us down a little bit, but we've always got a ton of ammo. We also offer bulk discounts. We actually have a sale on ammo right now. It's only $200 for 1,000 rounds of new brass 9mm, Fiocchi or CCI.
And not only that, you'll help carry it out to the car.
We will. We will.
Not that you want to, but you will.
Hey, that's my job. I love it. We also have Glocks on sale right now for the next week or so. Glock 19 is normally $500. It's a good 50 off that.
Wow.
We're happy about that. A lot of customers are too.
Yeah, we just had a lady running for office, and she had a great story about the Glock. So yeah, you should. If they heard that, you'll have people probably coming your way right now.
Yeah, I sure hope so. We got tons. We got at least 20, 25 to get out.
So those are Glock 19s for an enormously low price, right?
Terribly.
That is right.
It's so low you can't even
discount.
You can't even tell us on the air, right? You can't even advertise the
Not exactly, not on paper, probably not on the air, but it's a very significant discount.
I know the price. It is the cheapest I've ever seen a Glock 19, a new Glock 19 sold. So
it's amazing.
Short of like a Blue Label.
So are you guys watching this Virginia thing?
No, we're keeping an eye on it. Some of us are. I understand there's a big rally tomorrow.
Yeah.
And hopefully, I really hope that it all goes peaceful. I really hope that, everybody is able to compose themselves. Obviously a lot of people are very passionate about this kind of thing, especially, and I can understand, especially in a state like Virginia, where you have very, very loose gun rights. They're basically they're allowed to have much more than we can in California, and for them to be restricted, in any way, for them it must be extra. We're used to it, but they're for them that's a new thing. So I know a lot of people on the internet saying a lot of crazy things, and I just really hope that that's all talk.
Yeah, I think John Dillon says we've become institutionalized out here in California.
All of a sudden.
Because we're used to that stuff. So free Americans react a little bit differently. Because we were talking about this a little bit earlier. The laws that they want to pass in Virginia are pretty much like we already have out here, and people don't react to that well.
No, especially if they're not used to it.
Well, let's face it.
Again,
everybody looks at California as nothing but soup and nuts. I mean, a bunch of Looney Tunes out there. So nobody, nobody pays too much attention to California, but Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Virginia is one of the last states I would expect. I was expecting Oregon, Connecticut, something like that, Massachusetts, Hawaii. I was not expecting. I was not expecting something like Virginia. I would never expect. So again, I really hope that just everything goes peaceful. I really hope that people can just keep themselves composed. People will try to goad them into reacting so that they can put them in that little boxed category of the crazy gun guy, the crazy gun lady. We have to really try really hard not to fall for that.
Yeah. Just stand there and smile.
Just be peaceful people, and that's the best thing they can do. Mm-hmm. Don't give them the image that they want to put on, national television. But that's the most important thing right now.
But we've had not a rally as big and as publicized as this one, but every time we've had this, the gun owners and the Second Amendment people have been pretty calm, cool, and collected. Mike, have you known of any explosions or any
No, most of these protests, I mean, there's occasionally a fringe element, and that's what gets reported on. But I remember back when the tea parties were happening. All these folks would show up at a city's park, and they'd leave 3 hours later, and the park was cleaner than it was when they got there. I mean, occasionally there's some strife with political protesters, and I think that's the difference. Right. When they're demonstrators, it goes really, really well. But when protesters show up, then things go.
The paid protesters,
right? And frankly, the people in Virginia are not protesters; they're demonstrators. They're people that are taking the day off of work and going and saying, "Hey,
voicing their opinion."
Exactly.
All right. I hope it's all peaceful.
Well, tomorrow you should have a Virginia special. If you come in nice, you get a discount.
Yeah, what would that would be funny. A Virginia special.
Come in nice, and you get a discount.
Some kind of deep fried food too.
Okay, no argument there.
They always get me.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So everything's going good. All right. So you got any events coming up?
Events coming up, not a whole lot. We might want to call tomorrow an event. Everybody's going to be glued to the TVs in here, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind of looking forward to that. We're pretty eager to see what's going to happen. I really hope Virginia comes out on, gun owners come out on top on this.
Yeah. I think they will.
I'm really hoping because, I really, absolutely, I think they will. Really hope they will.
Well, they're under such scrutiny, and everybody knows it. And I think anybody that's on radio and TV that's talking about it, every one of them that's a Second Amendment gun owner person have said the same thing. Calm, cool, collected. Let's not be stupid. Don't do anything that's going to shed a negative light on us. I mean, not that we do anything. We don't do anything anyway. We're the most passive group of people when it comes to, speaking up. I mean, usually Second Amendment gun owners just stay kind of quiet and don't say a whole lot. Yeah. But, yeah.
Right. And it might be fortunate that they did pick Virginia for this, as opposed to like Jason was saying, they were thinking something like that would more likely happen in Hawaii or Massachusetts or something. But in Virginia, the people were really shocked by it, and we're getting a good reaction. So that might be better than had it happened in Massachusetts, where again they're institutionalized. Maybe like us, you wouldn't have had much of a reaction.
True. So
this could be a good thing.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Too. All right, buddy. Hey, all right. Well, hey, we'll let you get back at it. I'm sure you got people standing in front of you wanting to know why you're talking to yourself. All right, buddy.
Thank you, Dave.
Gun Sports Radio right here on FM 96.1, AM 1170.
The Answer.
This program is sponsored by Dave Stahl.